Welcome to Group 23's Capstone presentation about AI-driven hockey analytics program for identifying over and underperformance. Welcome to What the Puck. As the use of artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming more popular, it's about time that AI makes an introduction in the world of hockey analytics. Our program is useful for two different types of users. Firstly, players have the ability to compare themselves with other players and teams based on different statistical categories. Receive and view averages on a scale from 1 to 100 based on a percentile with other users, and receive AI-generated feedback that allows the player to know if they are over or underperforming each game based on their own statistics. Each stat is accepted by the administrator and inputted by their team coach. Coaches are also given the ability to view players on their team and add player statistics to the database, which will allow players to receive feedback on their performance. Overall, the primary purpose of our program is to improve player development in the world of hockey and allow players and coaches at the amateur and junior levels to understand which areas of the game they are over and underperforming in. Our classification AI model is trained to classify text into different categories. The goal is to analyze different statistical categories from common categories such as goals, assists, and shots to more distinct and undervalued statistics such as turnovers, shot blocks, and faceoff percentage. We take all the statistical categories, sum up the totals, and weight it over the total ice time that the player has had. This is the key point to our AI, as oftentimes players may have been seen to not have many strong statistical categories in the general sense. However, when you weight all that over the ice time, they can very quickly be seen as more valuable as they produce more for the team while they are on the ice. Now, in order to properly take advantage of and utilize this sort of ice time context, we decided to use BERT, which stands for Bidirectional Encoder Representations from Transformers. BERT is a powerful AI model that is developed by Google that understands the context of words in a sentence. Whereas most older AI models only read text in one direction, BERT is able to better understand the meaning of context and is able to read in both directions. This is what will allow us to get a good weight on the ice time factor during training. We used a BERT text classification pre-trained model fine-tuned on upon around 40,000 different player entries throughout NHL games over the years. Each player statistic was extracted using the NHL API, further trained to understand performance factors behind the player performance, and we trained on multiple epochs. After training on multiple epochs, we were able to obtain about a 90% accuracy rating on training data, showing a stronger but still improvable evaluation accuracy. If we were to change something about the way we were training, we definitely would have taken a larger data set to train the model on to improve the evaluation accuracy. Every once in a while, a player could be right on the cusp of over or underperforming and training the model more on examples. Next slide. More examples could very much improve the accuracy of the model. However, due to hardware constraints, we were unable to do larger data sets for training. However, given the scope of this project, we believe that we were able to sufficiently show the potential value that AI models could provide for hockey teams and players in the future. The next slide shows our multiple epoch trainings showing how we were able to obtain around a 90% accuracy rating on this training data. Okay, so now I'm going to be walking you through what happens if I want to look at my stats as a player and get an AI prediction on my performance in my recent game. So if I log in with a player account, Kevin L at UWO.ca, and you can see here on my player dashboard, I can look at my player stats. And it'll take a second here to load because the AI does need to do a lot of processing, but you can see underneath here that as an AI performance indicator, I'm an overperformer. So you can see here, I have 32 games played, 32 goals on 32 shots. I have a 100% shooting percentage, and I also have 23 assists, 3 blocks, 2 penalty minutes. I'm a goon, 2 turnovers, and 211 ice time. So all these stats are taken into account by the AI and essentially create one aggregate overperformer or underperformer performance indicator that is returned to you by the AI. Now, if I log out and I want to log in as a different player who may not be as skilled as me. For example, this player here, this American player, has 2 games played with 0 goals, 1 shot, 0 assists. And you can see here, the AR performance indicator shows that this American is a terrible underperformer with a terrible face-off win percentage as well.
Okay, so now I'm going to explain the player features of our program. So this is the player dashboard. There are many different pieces of functionality that a player can perform, but a player must be authenticated by the admin that they are an official player, which the admin will perform and Anson will explain in a few slides. So the first piece of functionality is the user portal, which consists of a search player and search team. Search player allows players to view any player that has been authenticated by the admin. And the search team takes all 32 NHL teams, and if there is a player within the database that is part of that team, it'll calculate an average based on various different statistics, which I will mention when I show you the actual site. Next page is comparisons. So it's player comparisons and team comparisons. Player comparisons will show 2 players side by side to each other and compare the stats to one another. The better of the 2 statistics will be green, the other one will be left the same color as normal. And then we're going to have team comparisons, which also does the exact same thing, but for the team statistics. So we also have top players slash teams. So for top players, it ranks the players based on who has the highest goal total, assist total, face-off total, etc. All the different statistics. And the same thing for teams, but based on the team statistics. And then we have the player dashboard. So when a player account and player stats are verified, the player has the ability to see their own stats. So this is only allowed when the player's statistics that have been inputted by the coach have been authenticated. Sky will explain the coach dashboard in the next slide. But on this page, it also includes the AI, as Kevin mentioned earlier, which will show if the player has been over or underperforming based on a wide range of statistics. And then lastly, we have the averages. So for averages, it gives you the ability to view the statistics, and then it also gives the players a rating from 0 to 100. So let's say a player has a very low goal total, high assist total, with a low number of games. It might give them a fairly high average. But let's say all statistical categories are extremely high, that player is going to have a high average. And if every statistic is very low, then most likely their range is going to be closer to the 0 to 10 rather than 90 to 100. Okay, so now I'm going to go into a little bit of depth of how the functionality actually works and how it's performed. But first, we want to create an account. So we're going to click Create Account, and we'll make a random email. Put in a password, put in a full name or player name, select the role, which you can choose between player, admin, or coach, select a team, yeah, and then we'll sign up. So then you're going to go to login here, and we'll put in that very same email and password and login. So one of 2 things will happen. An email will be sent to the user, but in this case, we used a fake email, so we're going to use a verification link here instead, which you can place into a different tab. And now your email address will be verified. But once you log in here, their access is limited, so we're not going to use this account because Anson is actually going to show how the admin profile works with accepting and rejecting new players and coaches. So we're going to use a account that we've already accepted. So we're going to type in this new login. Okay, so now we are on the player portal. So first, we're going to start off with the user portal. So we're on the user portal and we're going to search for a player. So this only allows players that whose statistics have been verified to be searched up. So for example, we put in Austin Matthews here and all his statistics are showing with his team, his name, etc. And then we're going to go to select a team and let's select the Montreal Canadiens. So this takes all the players that are under the team Montreal Canadiens and have statistics within the database, and using that creates an average for goals per game, adds up all their goals for, adds up their team assists, and adds up total penalty minutes and displays it to the user using a GET request. So then the next thing we're going to show is our edit profile. So for example here, we're going to switch the email. So let's say we're going to change this to poor player 1, and then we're going to update profile. We won't change the password for now. And so you can go back, log out, and now we're going to put poor player 1 with the same password. And now we're back in. So now we're going to go back to edit profile one more time. And now we're going to change the password. So let's change this password to anything new. Confirm the password. And then we're going to update the profile. So now we're going to log in one more time using the new password. So this will work on a player, coach, or admin profile, but I just wanted to show it on the player profile here. So now we're going to do player comparisons. So now you can search up any player that has been whose data has been verified. So for example, Austin Matthews, and let's do DK. So we're going to compare the players here and scroll down. So as you can see, DK has more games played, so obviously it's going to be highlighted in green. So the greater stat is going to be highlighted in green. But for example, Austin Matthews has 0 turnovers, but DK has 5. So Austin Matthews's total for turnovers is highlighted because 0 turnovers is better than 5 turnovers. And as you can see, for all the statistics, we have this labeled. So now we're actually going to go to the team comparison, which is also in the navigation bar. And we're going to select a team. These are only teams that are within the team database. So some players or some teams don't have players on the team yet that have created accounts, so they aren't displayed. But if we had players for every team, every team would be displayed in the team comparison. So here we're going to compare the Montreal Canadiens to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And as you can see, in every statistical category, the Pittsburgh Penguins are exceeding the Canadiens. So for example, for goals for, the Penguins have 32, the Canadiens have 23. So obviously the statistic is highlighted in green for the Penguins. Same thing for assists, same thing for penalty minutes, which are much lower for the Penguins, so they're highlighted. And goals per game is 1 to 0.66, so obviously that is better for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So then we're going to go over to the player dashboard here, which right now is not, which right now has statistics in it because we have implemented them earlier, but if there were 0 statistics within there, it would say, please verify this account or please verify your statistics. So it also shows the AI, which Kevin will mention, or he did mention earlier. And then let's go to top players/teams. So here it takes every player statistic here. So here it's goals. So obviously Kevin Dog has 32 goals, who's leading, and then Yo at the end here has 1. So and then same thing, it's going to show the most to the least for player statistics for every statistical category. So then we scroll down and we're going to have this for teams here. And now so it's goals for, assists, penalty minutes, and goals per game. Same as what was shown earlier with when you're able to search up the team, but now it's comparing it with other teams. And then we're going to also go up here and we're going to go to the player averages. Yeah, so this is very interesting. So this just displays all the statistics. So statistics that are unavailable basically means the player statistics have not been verified yet. So that's why they're not shown. And then this right here shows the statistics as well, but we're going to go now to player ratings. And that shows all the statistics from 1 to 100. So for example, here DK has a rating of 45, meaning he's not one of the top players in the league per se, but then you have someone here who's 100, which is Kevin Dog, which means he's probably one of the top players in the league. It's sort of like something you'd see in NBA 2K or NHL, where your player gets an average based on different statistical categories. And let's actually go back to the statistics. And as you can see here, it displays all the statistics just like you can do on the user profile, but now it shows all of them together without having to search. And these are also the exact same players that are getting ratings, and they're only players. So now we're going to go on to the coach portal, which Sky will be going into a little depth about.
All right, now let's get into the coach features. The coach should have three main features: the basic features, the view team features, and the upload information features. The basic features are the features that are already available to the players, such as viewing their stats or comparing themselves to other people. The view team features allows the coach to see all of the players on their own team. The coach would not be able to view players on the other team, but if the admin were to use this dashboard, they would be able to see all of the players on all of the teams. Then we have the upload information feature. This is where the coach is able to upload the statistics and playing information about all of their players. Once that gets sent to the database, the admin will be able to review it and approve it, and then it will become part of the actual app. For the upload information part, the coach selects the player that they're going to add the statistics to. Then the coach inputs the statistics into the text box. They then submit the statistics, and then the admin can choose if they want to approve or deny these stats. And if it's approved, it will be available to the public on the application. So when you log in as a coach, you'll have all of the options that are available to players, as well as the options that are available to the coaches. So you get, the player comparisons, team comparisons, top players, stuff that Daniel had just covered. But we're going to specifically focus on the coach dashboard. When you open the coach dashboard, you'll see a list of your players here, including the example player, which was just created. And you'll also be given a top players, and this is outside of your team. This is just a list of top players. You can go to your upload information section. You can pick whichever player you'd like. So let's just go to our example player, and let's say, he's played one game, he scored 2 goals, 1 assist on 5 shots, no blocks, no penalty minutes, turnover, a takeaway, 2 face-off wins, face-off loss, and let's say he ran for 20 minutes. So we'll submit this here. Once it's submitted, you'll get a little notification saying that the data submission is successful. And this will not go into your example player until the admin has approved that these stats are correct. And this is to prevent coaches from being able to, stat pad their players. They can just say, oh, yeah, he got 20 goals and 5 assists, and just make their player look way better than they actually are. So the admin has to go in and approve and make sure that these are legit statistics. So then we log out as the admin, or log out as the coach, and we'll log in as an admin here. And when you log in as an admin, you go to your admin dashboard and you'll go to the data requests. And this is, as you saw before, or as you'll see with Anson, you can go in and you can say that these were correct. So, I'll scroll down and get to the example player, approve that. And then when we go back to the example player, it will show up as proper statistics. So we'll go to our example. And now they've got their goals and their assists, etc.
Now we'll be talking about the admin features. The admin oversees the verification and the validity of users and data in the platform. It is important that the data is checked by a trusted body, since incorrect data will lead the AI model to making incorrect predictions. The same reasoning can be applied to validating users, as we want to avoid just anybody claiming that they're on whatever team they choose. The admin can approve and reject users and data through a simple UI, and without the implementation of this, it would have to be manually done by the backend team, us, and that would just be not as convenient. Now we're going to showcase our admin dashboard. With a simple UI, there are role requests and data requests. So here you can see all the players that have yet to be approved. Coaches will also have to be approved through the system, and it just lets us filter who's a verified player or coach and who's not. And you can see that before you're verified, you won't be able to access the website for security reasons. So once I go ahead and I verify the user, like so, then when we go back to their account, they now have access to all of the stuff here. But since their data hasn't been approved yet, they can't see their own stats and they won't show up in the user portal here. So going back to the admin account, there's a pending data request here for another user that has been verified. And it just shows that we can verify games, shots, blocks, several statistics. Once it's approved, we can go look them up in the user portal here where they wouldn't have been before. And they'll show up just like so.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. We plan to continue working on this site so players of the future can improve upon their individual games and so coaches of the future can increase the efficiency of their hockey team.